Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 12th episode of season 4 of The Walking Dead. So yeah, this episode came out yesterday. I'm filming this on the 3rd of March, so yesterday. Um, Pretty much at the same time as the Oscars. Well, the Oscars started about half hour to an hour before, but this was on during the Oscars. I'm gonna say first off that watching the Oscars and this episode was kind of a bitch because I was trying to watch them at the same time. I eventually did rewatch it, the episode, so I now have a better understanding of this episode. So yeah. Still, that's the name of the episode. Still, um, yeah. So for those who haven't watched this episode for whatever reason, was you're watching the Oscars or missed it for whatever other reason, I recommend you watch the episode. Get it on DVD whenever you're watching this. Season 4 DVD, or your recordings or Blu-ray or Netflix, or watch it somehow a rerun, and then come back and watch this video because this is a pretty interesting episode. Yeah. So yeah, a couple seconds for you guys to do that, starting now. So yeah, gave you the 10 seconds as usual. Don't complain down below in the comments or messaging me that I never gave you any time to leave, because I actually did. So yeah. So if you're still here and haven't watched the episode, it's on your own accord. So as usual, I'll do a quick review, likes and dislikes, and quick synopsis, likes and dislikes, and then I'll rate it as usual. So in this episode, it just focuses on Daryl and Beth and how they're surviving. Basically, after the death of Herschel, Beth basically wants to experience things that she never has experienced before, mostly drinking and being disobedient for the most part, flipping people off, well, mostly Daryl, and just letting out all her anger issues. While Daryl, he's kind of getting more reserved to himself for the most towards the beginning of the episode, and he kind of just by the end of the episode, he basically lets a lot of things out. He says a lot of things about him, and yeah, basically in this episode they go. Beth is basically in search of alcohol. Period. Yeah. So basically, after having set up this small camp, Beth runs off. Daryl follows her, and they go off to a golf course. Trying to find some booze. They kind of do. Well, Beth kind of does. I think it was called like peach snobs or something like that. Daryl's like, no, that's bad liquor. Let me show you some real liquor. He goes to this like kind of redneck home, where they get some moonshine. They drink a bit, and things happen. And yeah, eventually they burn down the cabin or the redneck house they were in, and that's basically it. First off, I'm gonna say this: Beth wants a D. Beth wants that D. Beth wants the D. Dude, what the hell was wrong with Beth in this episode? What the hell was wrong with Beth in this episode? It's like half the Emily Kinney was drunk half for the majority of this episode, even before her character drank alcohol. Her acting was still pretty good, but what the hell happened in this episode? Okay. First off, for at least up until like the half hour mark, for at least half of the show, Beth was practically straight up drunk. See, Daryl, he was drunk a bit. They were playing these games, and it kind of seemed like Beth was trying to, get into his pants. Eventually, Daryl got way too drunk, and he kind of freaked out, and I actually thought he was gonna rape her for a second. Yeah, I think this is the most unintentional sexual episode of The Walking Dead. I think it's the only one. Period. I mean, yeah, yeah. I have no idea. Okay, the majority of the majority of this episode is character development. I mean, there's no problem with that. But when most of the character development happens when the characters are drunk, it just it doesn't look good. It just really does not look good. I mean, I'm gonna give it some good points. Norman Reedus, he does a fantastic job at showing emotion. Emily Kinney, I mean, she's pretty decent. So yeah, the acting, still fairly decent. The writing, it's decent in some parts. I'm gonna give it that. The action scenes, like zombie kills, those were amazing. Granted, they only had like 5, but still pretty cool. And I do like that we're seeing new locations, so that is pretty cool. And that Beth is getting some more character development. I think is good. Her flipping off Daryl, calling him an asshole and a jerk. Her wanting to drink, pretty significant. So the character development, they do not fall flat on that, but the plot is kind of flimsy. I mean, it's just flimsy. Yeah. I did not care for the plot at all. I did not care for the plot at all. I mean, at times I did care for the plot, but at other times it was just really just a flimsy, weak plot. Also, it seemed like at least throughout half this episode, I expected Daryl and Beth to make out or hook up or something. I mean, they were at the beginning of the episode, they were in the back of a car truck together for at least a few hours. I'm gonna assume. I mean, that they got drunk and it almost seemed like Daryl was about to rape her. So, yeah. What the hell happened in this episode? All I know is that Beth wants a D. She wants a D. So yeah. I have no idea what the hell happened in this episode. I mean, honestly, the plot was flimsy. The writing was it was either hit or miss, and yeah, I mean and when you have your the only actors in this episode seemingly drunk before they're supposed to get drunk, it just really doesn't look good. So yeah, I mean on a score of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and 6 being decent. 6.5 is what I would give a little bit more than decent. Yeah, so 6.5, a little bit more over decent. I think that's mostly due to the character development. But yeah, 6.5 out of 10. Yeah. Remember to watch my previous episode review on Claims, I believe, and when it comes out, the next episode on Alone, next video and previous video. Subscribe. I also do other Walking Dead discussion topics, reviews on the comics and TV series, and sometimes on the video games. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I also review movies, TV shows, and comics, so also stay tuned for that. Or other TV shows of the comics and movies, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's basically it for this review, 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, comment below on your thoughts on this episode, and what are your thoughts on Beth and Daryl hooking up? I don't know. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? Comment below, subscribe, as I said before, and share on whatever you guys, on whatever you guys want, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, share on those things if you guys want anything else. Your decision, that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.